Buddy, it's Eddie Bush with Craftsmanship Counts, bringing you back to the Catacombs um, Kata stream. And I'm kind of waiting on my cohort to get in. I apologize for last week. I was out sick. Unplanned. And I was down and I didn't communicate to my cohort. And so I think that they weren't sure whether I'd be here today. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I got something in my throat. Just a second. And we'll get going here. I guess I don't know where I want to be here. Yes, this is where I want to be. Okay. Let me see who we got here. I have a cohort coming in. Nobody yet. Okay. Well, let's get on with it. Go ahead and get set up. Oh, I got somebody popping in. Look at that, Cindy. Cindy Turpin coming in the back door.
Morning.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Nice. I'm doing good by choice. It's the deliberate choice. I'm really not. If you do, I'm a mess, but I'm going to be good.
Well, you have a choice, right? Be happy or not be happy. So, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do. Sometimes the choice seems more difficult to make.
Amen, brother. I have been there. I have had some medical issues, but I am feeling better and I got a job, so
Praise God.
finally
Praise God.
finally things are coming together. So,
I'm so happy for you. Yeah,
thank
there's a
you.
lot more movement now. It's been, for those of you who don't know, it's been horrible in tech this year. And
No kidding.
it's starting to come back a little bit for all kinds of reasons.
Yep.
Um, Lucas probably out today. I think Stephen may be doing some yard work, and I bet he got wound up in that. And um,
Okay.
so we
Well, I
got.
saw that Steven was the only one that showed up yesterday or last week, so
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was out sick, and I was just down.
I was down too. So,
Oh well, you and I've always been in sync.
it happens.
Cindy and I go way back.
That's right.
All right, let's see. I am. What am I doing here? I don't want to. Yeah, okay. I want to share that screen with my pair, and
There we go.
remember to mute yourself.
Trying to figure out how to do that.
The tuple icon. Please bear with us.
Where do I do it in Tuple? This is annoying. Is that
There's
it?
there's a little door stuff. Click that and then say mute me. I think you
Got it.
fixed
I did
it.
it.
Yeah. Cool.
Man, I was searching everywhere. I forgot about the little icon at the top. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. It's this is all kind of still new. Um,
Yep.
and I forgot that we've got a we got a story map out there.
Yeah.
And I know Stephen had some thoughts while we were gone. I had some thoughts too, and I don't know. That's you're there with Tuple, not with Miro. Okay, that's fine. So no, so Cindy, I was thinking about this. Let me run this past you and see what you think.
Sure.
Um, I was thinking this morning. The last couple of days, I was kind of thinking about what we talked about for our walking skeleton, and I actually think we got too much in it. I think it's too big, and I actually think like the very first thing that we should be focused on is let me put this on D&D, so otherwise it'll just here we go. Um, So I think the first thing we should like our first thing we should be targeting is you can so far as like anything larger than a single operation. Our first scenario we should target is I go in the game, I start it, I move a direction, I've exited
Okay.
because like you remember back in the day when there weren't standards around how software worked and you'd go in a new piece of software and you'd be like, oh, this is neat, how the hell do I get out of this?
Yes.
And so being able to successfully exit a piece of software, I find that to be a very important thing, right? Like, and then, I mean, of course, yeah, people want to collect treasure and whatnot, but being able to end the game to complete the game, I think that's a very important, part of things.
Oh, Steven showed up.
Sorry.
Add Steven to the call.
Well, I would love to do that.
His little icon popped up in Miro there.
Um.
Oh, now.
Okay. Well, I don't see him in Restream.
Oh, okay.
I would love to add him, but so I I have this little dashboard here, and I've got the stream in the middle. I've got some stuff on the right, and then I've got the available things to put into the stream on the left. And so when you came in, you're there and you're kind of grayed, and so I can see that you're there, right? But and I actually have to like hit a little slider to add you into the stream. But he's not there yet. I'm keeping an eye out. Thank you for watching.
Well, there was a little slider icon that came out that showed his name, so I thought maybe that meant he was here.
Not yet.
Grab the coffee.
Sure.
I'm here.
You're good. So what I was thinking is like that seems like that's like really just really baseline, and so I think that's our walking skeleton, and it gets a lot of the important pieces that they're like prompting and movement, right? We got to be able to prompt people, accept their commands, and do something with it in order to go from one spot to another. Oh, I'm actually really happy that you're here because I was struggling mentally. Hi, my name's Eddie Bush, and I struggle mentally.
Hallelujah. Hi, Eddie. I'm Cindy Turpin, and I do too.
Hey, here's Stephen. And so, hey, Stephen. By the way, mental health challenges are, it's a big thing. And it's one of those things that people didn't used to talk about. And I just want to encourage you all that everybody has struggles, seriously. And please don't feel isolated and alone. Go talk to somebody, get some help. Sit down and pray, meditate, whatever works for you. Just don't let it overwhelm you, right? Because it's okay and it's normal to have those challenges.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just felt like I should say that.
It bears repeating.
This is the loving, caring technology stream.
Hey, those
Um,
PSAs don't happen often enough, so I'm
what?
with you.
The P what's?
Oh, public service announcement,
Oh,
PSAs.
PSAs. um, Yeah, so Stephen, we were talking a little as you were coming in. What I had this thought of, like, and I don't know if you heard that, but, like, really the minimum thing we should be targeting here is, I wish I could put you all in like here where I could like look at you while I'm looking at the thing and look at you all at the same time too. And it just doesn't work like that. So I apologize. You'll see it like I'm looking over here, I'm looking at my team. If I'm looking here, I'm looking at the coder. And if I'm looking at you like this, then I just really want you to know what I'm talking about. Really want to focus on you. So you remember back in the day, Stephen, how old are you, Stephen? You're in your 30s?
I'm 31.
So I don't know if you're old enough to remember this or not, but you're back in the day, there didn't used to be standards around software. And you'd go into a new piece of software and you'd be like, oh, this is cool. And then your next thought is, how the heck do I get out of this thing? Right? Because I mean, good luck with standards, right? I mean, you can see this in Unix stuff, like getting out of Pico versus VI versus something else, right? And everybody's kind of got their own standard there. But it hit me that really, it feels like our walking skeleton is a little bit big, and I think that our walking skeleton, we should simplify that down to, hey, I can start a game, and if I move one place, then I'm at the exit, and I've finished the game. I've successfully, right, or and maybe even be able to, maybe even simpler than that. But we could do this along with that, is just being able to exit. Like, oh, I've come into the game and I can exit. Right. Those would, I think those, that is the first thing we should do, and then this other stuff comes after that. In fact, I think we should probably fold it in more slowly than what we have here. So I'm looking at them. How does that sound?
Yeah, that seems like a more true walking skeleton because it's actually end to end, and we'll be able to like code out the end game and like, do that part of it. So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't think it changes the way that we're approaching Cucumber. I still think that each operation needs an end-to-end acceptance test for it, right? And so I think that we're doing good. We've got a good target on where we're moving there. But so far as, yeah, that first milestone, I think that's our first milestone. So I'm going to change this up a little bit in that spirit. And let me see here. It's been a second, so I don't remember exactly. So this is, I'm just going to call it next release. I don't know what to call it right now. We're going to need the in memory. Y'all help me out here.
Yeah. Yep. I think we don't need to worry about opening doors, just moving around and
Yeah.
no taking items.
What if we simplified this? Really, just like, we don't need to be comprehensive, right? We need to prove that things work.
Sure.
How am I just like, what are we thinking about this? Is this?
I like it.
And then this stuff can come up.
No,
And
leave the cave. No, leave the cave. We didn't start in a cave.
Yeah, well, I think it's just meaning like complete the game.
Oh,
we did actually.
Whatever that means.
No, hold on a second.
I mean, I think leave the cave basically means like find the end location, whatever that is, like the exit location.
okay. Well, as I recall, we didn't start in a cave, so I don't.
Yeah. So, I mean, the docs don't really make sense when it says leave the cave.
We would have to like create the cave and build out how we got to the cave.
Man, my memory must be really bad. My memory is bad. Let me just confess that.
We were lost in Shoreditch.
Yes, I was looking. I thought that we started in a cave. Why did I think that?
Maybe like the end location is he finds his car.
You enjoy spelunking? I don't know.
Actually, that sounds fun.
It is fun.
Okay, well, I apologize because I thought we were in a cave the whole dang time. Aren't catacombs in a cave?
Yeah, and I mean, we don't need to take this README as like law here. We can make some edits and do, whatever we want really. If we want to start in a cave and try to get out of it, then we can approach it like that.
Okay, so quit the game or leave the
find the exit location, or I don't know, complete the game. Yeah.
How's that? That's that, and then it just doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do we
Nice.
want to save? Do we want to make part of that saving where we were?
I think that's another thing.
Okay.
I mean, if there's only 2 cells, how if there's only 2 cells and all you can do is move from one place to the other, are you frustrated that you always start at the start location?
Probably
Because
not yet.
when you move to the end location, you're done. I think that can come in later, personally.
Okay.
Yeah. And okay. What else? Okay, good. By the way, I've only got time for about 2.5 hours today. I think just kind of thinking about it, I think that if we do about and I want to make sure that we do a retro at the end. So and I think we ought to do around go until about 5 till, take a minute break, take a 2-minute break, go for another 55, kind of stop at the top of the hour and do a retro. We've set a very bad example on this so far. I'd like for us to correct that today. How do we feel about that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. And we need a timer. I'll make sure this with you guys. I guess I'll just put it in our Slack.
Oh, good. That wasn't me. Okay.
No, and I think he jumped right on the mute because we're not getting echo. I should have told you I was doing that for you. You would. I flipped over and I saw that you were requesting to join.
Yeah, I got it. Not too much echo.
It took me a bit.
You came late to the game. It took us all a couple of times too. So don't feel bad.
Yeah, you get old and you can't remember things. It's all right.
Yeah, or you're a human and you just don't pick it up the first time because you actually have a life and there's other things that you're focused on. Let's not make it about age. So you made an age comment. I got to say this. A year ago, I was 270. I gotten lackadaisical through the pandemic and whatnot. And I've been really working the last few years on improving my capability, my cycling capability, bicycling, like pedal, right? You have to do stuff to improve your health. It helps, right? And so I'm down to like 232 from 270 was the peak where I was at. I'm down to like 232.8. Actually, I might be a little lower than that. And I've done it through cycling and lifting. But here, this is the neat thing, and this relates directly to your comment. my mental acuity has gone back up. And I'm not even kidding. My mental acuity has gone back up and I don't know if you can tell, like, I've got a lot more energy than I did a year ago. So another PSA, exercise, it works.
I didn't see you a year ago, but yeah, I've also experienced the same thing. I agree with you.
Stephen, I'm sorry. I don't think you've gotten to the place that it started impacting you yet. I wish I was 30 something again. Actually, I'm starting to feel like I'm 30 something again.
Yeah, I'm going to CrossFit, just doing my best.
Nice.
Yeah, if you stay on top of it, you never have to worry about getting back on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to do that. We get focused on work. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so we're still like we're kind of working on this. This is actually kind of more of an implementation detail of we're trying to get into this. In fact, we kind of talked about how this red stuff is really more implementation, and we're focused on this guy. Let's I'm going to make this, instead of gray, I'm going to make it green. That's where we're at. We'll know what we're working on. And okay. And yeah, okay. And we were working on parameterizing this, as I recall, and we're not quite there. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think we were
Yep.
talking about locations, what we were going to name the movement, or how we were going to lay out the tiles or something.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Another thought that I had this morning, and Cindy has a history in map making, right? And so I think this is great. I was really hopeful you would be here today, but so we move from place to place, right, through the game, and I'm just thinking, like, what is a good name for that? Is it like location, or we talk about it like it's a location? Is location like a I don't know. I just but I thought it occurred to me that maybe location is, I don't know if that's too vague, but I thought I'd throw that out there just for conversation this morning. What do we think that each one of these little areas is? Do we like location? Is it?
Yeah, I like location. Yeah, I mean, because that could be like a room, a house, that could
Yeah.
be outside. I think it's generic for a reason, because there can be several things there.
Yep.
Okay.
Like, it can
like
be anything.
I just wanted to have the conversation. Okay,
Mhm.
good. I'm good. I'm on board with that too. It both feels yeah. Okay. So we've got Cindy. You haven't jumped in the mob timer yet.
Oh. Apologies. Let's see.
Let's see, and we want see.
Trying to remember how to add myself.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Let's go to the mob tab, and then you can add yourself there.
That's the ticket.
And are we going from typer to navigator, or from navigator to typer? Which way do we want to rotate?
I like navigator to typer.
Sure. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
That's actually the way that Woody teaches it. And the theory goes like this: like you rotate into navigator, you get the thing that has been on your mind out, and then you rotate into typer, and you're just on a mental vacation. Oh, the only thing that you're doing is trying to realize the place that we're trying to go into code, right? So you get a little bit of a break then.
Yeah,
That's
actually, now I'm thinking about it, I normally do it the opposite way. And I think I've been liking that just because I'm coaching like people that haven't really done TDD or like doing that.
both
So in
both
that,
ways can work.
I think it works more because they can just not have to think. And then since they've been typing in there for a while, then they're accustomed to it. And then now they may have some ideas, and then they can move into that navigator role.
So it's like you're priming the pump. Getting your fingers moving is sort of the initial stage. I'm with you.
Yeah, I
Both
like that part of it.
I've seen both ways work. I think that it depends upon the group.
Yeah.
But we can. I've flipped it around. We'll try it, and then that can be something that we talk about in retro. So, okay, so okay, so okay, so we go from navigator to typer. No, you said you want to go from typer to navigator.
I don't really mind. I don't mind like doing it the way that I don't do it, so I can have experience with that. So
yeah, but what you just said is the thing that we just agreed on is to go from navigator to typer. Is that true?
Can we do Woody's way? You said typer to navigator. Navigator to typer. Yeah, let's do that.
What? Typer. So typer to navigator. I think you said typer to navigator because typer you get some ideas and then you roll into navigator. I think that's what you said. But yes, the other way is the way that Woody teaches it, like to go from navigator to typer. But both ways work. It's context dependent, and I want to. I think I did it wrong. So does it look right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. And there's 3 of us. Let's do 7 minutes. We'll try to do that. That's 21 minutes to get back to the keyboard, but I think that's okay. And that'll get us about up to our break. Okay. So you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm Steven. I'm navigating.
I'm Eddie. I'm typing.
I'm Cindy. I'm next.
All right, Eddie. So I think the last thing we did was we had this data table here on the right, and we have some rows. I'm not. So it's a list, a map. What is that a map to?
Yeah. So I think these are our map keys.
Okay.
And we talked about how we would do locations with the grid coordinate system Cindy was talking about with like letters and numbers, and we didn't change that. So I don't know if we care about that. It just occurred to me that that's something we didn't do that I thought we said we were going to.
Wouldn't it be easier just to use like an X and Y so we can just like, if we're at 0, 0, we want to go north, we go 0, 1 instead of mixing letters into it? Seems like it overcomplicates it.
Well, think about the I'm being a really bad typist right now, guys, because I'm so used to being a coach and a facilitator. And I'm going to take my own advice and say, there's other smart people in the ensemble. I'm going to shut my mouth and you all talk about
it. The idea behind the map coordinates is you can start from wherever. So we could be at G5 and we would know exactly where that is on a global scale. We wouldn't necessarily know what level we're on because we could also add in the fact that, we're going to have stairs and heights and all sorts of, so that would be a Z coordinate, but we would kind of have an idea where we are in the layout of things. If we make it just 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, then, I mean, it's a free for all, right? You could lay that out in any way. There's no.
You don't know where the origin. You're not sure where the origin is.
Exactly. So 1 could be up, it could be down, it could be left, it could be right from where you started.
Okay.
So it kind of gives you a waypoint or some way of looking at the whole game. Sort of like in a lot of common user games now, they have like a little window down in the corner and you see your opponents and everything in relation to where you are. It kind of gives you an idea of the world.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, thanks for the explanation. It makes more sense.
Nobody uses paper maps anymore, but it actually makes things easier.
Okay.
Yeah. And which is interesting because when we think of simple, we're trying to keep it simple, right? How do you define simple? Was the first way we define simple is the thing that's most accessible to us, right? And so
Yeah.
clearly Stephen and I are used to thinking in a Cartesian system, more kind of mathematical. Cindy's got some expertise in map banking, which actually is nice to have in this context. And for her experience has been, in the context of a map, this is simple. And I actually like it too. I thought it was nice. So
Yeah,
all right.
that makes sense.
So okay. So yeah, I'm waiting. What would you like, sir?
So I think we'd want to. I mean, I guess at this point we want to be passing in locations to the game, and so we need to get it out of this data table.
So I'm going to suggest instead of the ID being 00, let's make it L0 or L1, because we're on level 0 or level 1. However, if you want to do it 0 based, I don't care, whatever.
Is level relevant to us right now?
Well, it may not be right now, but it will be sometime.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay lean, right?
Yeah, I thought wouldn't it be like A0 or is that?
Yeah, we want to basically create a letter on one side and a number on the other, and it can be either way.
Okay, but I don't think we should add 3 at this point until we get to stairs, right?
Okay, that's fair.
Shouldn't add 3.
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't
you
understand.
so you put A00. Let's just keep A0 for now.
Okay.
Until we actually add like a Z direction.
What? No.
We'll just have to go back and change all of the tests, everything that you've written, to add a level to it at some point in the future.
Yeah, and so that's the way I did it. That's the reason I did it like that, Stephen. I was working off my understanding of the intent as I've heard you all talking about it.
Okay.
And so I think we were talking about putting a level on it later. This is an XY. There's no Z on here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And so, but I believe that, and so the way I was thinking about this, just kind of explaining myself, not trying to steer from the typist, is that we might wind up defaulting the level to the first level or something. And so this would, we would, I don't want to have to come back and change stuff. Exactly the conversation we were having. I want to be able to progressively enhance this, right? So I don't know if that's helpful. If you don't like it, I'm happy to change it. I'm just explaining what I did for you.
No, I get it. And so you're saying like we can have A to Z and then up to 99.
Yeah. Well, in fact, yeah. Or I mean, we could always do that too, and just say like that we parse letters and numbers, and it doesn't matter how many there are. We could do it either way. I don't know. I tend to think of it like that.
No. Let's keep it.
Okay.
I just didn't understand the intent behind it.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason I was unpacking it for you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, these rows, like do we want to build like a location? Do we want to build like a locations object or something that we can pass into the game? Like like it can be like a data structure with a map or something inside of it. And so, yeah.
I need more. Give me some context. What are we wanting?
Well, yeah, I'm just. I mean, if this has an ID and then like location descriptions and things like that, if we're moving the ID, it would be useful to query the location with an ID. So to have some kind of first class collection, like a map, like locations or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. So it's like locations, and it has like a map within it.
Yeah, that makes
with
sense.
IDs and maybe like a location data structure or model.
Do we remember the initialization conversation we had last time? It's been a couple of weeks, so maybe we don't.
No.
So, okay, our timer went off, but I guess that's a good time to talk about this. So think about the initialization of this, right? You've got the we have a tendency to want to just like load stuff and run with it, right? But in the context of what we're doing here, we also want to think in terms of domain and keeping like configuration and domain separate. And my argument here is that what we have here in our feature file, this format it's a configuration approach, right? It's at one configuration approach, but we're gonna wind up having stuff like oh gosh, I don't know, maybe I'm just spitballing here, right? I am sketching, and I'll undo this. I just want to have a very concrete conversation with you about my thoughts. And so this could be A01, A02, right? You get what I'm saying? Um, um, so what we have here is we've got pointers to things, but they're not real pointers. They can't be, and we can't load them as real pointers. So I actually think initialization is a two-step process, because the first thing that you need to do is you got to load the configuration data so that you can actually realize the map. And so you're gonna. I don't know. I can't think of a way to do this otherwise. I'm glad to be told that there is, and I'm just not smart enough to see it right now. That's probably true, by the way. Somebody feel free to chime in and tell me, because I know I have lots of ignorance in my life about lots of things. Um, so I think actually what we have is we've got like a location configuration, and then we've got a location, and the location is the realized domain object that comes from the configuration. And we initially load the configuration, and then what we do is we go through and we say, okay, so I got A00. I've loaded all. I've got all these configuration things. Now let me load A01, and I'm going to link it up, right? To or maybe I don't know. Are the things I'm saying being helpful and useful to you all, or am I just insane?
Let me see if I can process what you said. Instead of adding north, south, east, west to this location, let's think about what other things might be possible. If the location that we're in takes up more than one tile, or it's at a different level, you might be able to go more than just north, south, east, and west. So rather than adding north, south, east, and west where you can go to in this particular place, let's have a map that points to this location that tells us where we can go to from here. And that's part of the initialization, right? So the initialization will do more than just set the setting and say you are here, but it will also have a thing that will point to that says you can proceed to wherever from this location. And that may be different from each, well, it will be different from each location that we go to. We might have a location in this cave where we can teleport, right? I mean, we don't know. Special cave. So rather than trying to maintain from this particular place where we can go to from here, let's keep track of just where we are, and then point to another structure. I don't care what the structure is, but that tells us where we can go to from here.
Yeah,
That's how I was thinking about it too. And that I mean you could have like, I mean, I think there's another model here, like domain term that we haven't used, and it's the player. And right now the player has like a current coordinate that it's in this location.
sure.
And that we can, you know, change the state of that, and then see what change the coordinates, and then it'll be in another location. That's the way I was thinking about it.
I mean, I guess the location is the A00.
Well, that's where they start out at, right?
Yeah.
The different locations have immutable coordinates. The player has mutable coordinates.
Yeah.
The player is moving through the world and changing location as they go, right? No, I hear what you're saying. So to me, there's two ways we can represent this. This is we're kind of using a relational. I'm going to put it in terms of the way we think about databases, right? We're kind of using a relational model here. It's kind of tabular, and I would argue it's relational because we're kind of using kind of pseudo keys into like, oh, there's this thing over here. The other way we could do it is, and I don't see how this could possibly work effectively, but we could use more of a document model, right? You know what I'm saying? And we could nest all this stuff in, but because and if it was just if it was linear and directed, maybe that would work, right? But because of the fact that it's not linear and it's multi-directed, I don't think that would be a good way to go. And so I think the more relational model for the configuration will be a better approach. Is that resonating with you guys? Or
the relational model is this n, like all these like pointers?
Yeah, I think personally, I think those as foreign keys at the data level, right?
Yeah, I do think it run. I think it's limited, like what Cindy was talking about. Like if you add more things, like yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe there's like a teleportation thing that's not actually like right next to you, or I don't know. You fall down a slide and go like 3 levels down somewhere. I think it runs up against limitations.
So okay, so I actually personally I as I think about this model, I think that it accounts for everything that you just said. However, let me say this because this is a bit denormalized. What if, and maybe this makes it more straightforward actually to load into without the intermediary stuff. What if we normalize this a little bit more and we had it would impact the way that we're doing things, but we could say we could just have the stuff that we have, right? Game with the new locations, and given the following, I'm just again I'm sketching. Given a location associations, and this would be something like ID north. Actually, ID direction, and then whoa, I'm freaking losing it here. So so this would be like A00, and direction would be north, and it would be
The other location, right?
01. Yeah, and I don't know what this name is. It's
destination.
Oh yes. So this is like origin ID. Oh come on. And this would be like destination ID. What do we think? And now we're post processing our domain objects at this point, so we can't initialize them and then be immutable, right? Or we've got different. I don't know. I need to stop thinking about implementation. This actually, what does this seem better or worse? What do you guys think?
So I'm working on something on the side here. I'll propose it here in a second. I didn't want to override anything that you were doing.
No, you're doing research, Cindy. You're spitballing, and that's awesome.
Okay. I am involved. I'm just trying to kind of lay out my idea.
I think this way of doing things could simplify the way of getting around locations and make it more straightforward. Um, yeah. So last week I did some I was working with this and looking at different designs, and I went another way with this. But I think that this way,
So
yeah,
this isn't
I kind of like it.
this isn't in your format here, but I'm proposing that we have an object that is part of this startup location that is nothing to do with where they are. It's where they can go. So it will also have the um, location as far as like A00 or whatever, but it will be an object that they can then embed or is embedded as part of their options from where they are. So um, one room might only have one exit, it might have one door, and it leads, you know, north. But it might be a room that can go in multiple directions, right? It can
Absolutely.
go south or it can go up or it can go down. So
Yeah.
I don't think we can solve the X, Y, and Z coordinate from where we are. I think we need to have another object that contains from where this location is that they're in, what are my options? Where can I go from here? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think you could probably get to that with what Eddie has here, because you can.
I mean,
Yeah.
this, yeah. Did I just represent what you said, Cindy?
Um,
So this is L minus one. We went down one, right?
okay.
But we're still at A00. So we just went downstairs.
But the general thing that I'm trying to get at is you've added the complexity here to this particular object, right? So it has to maintain a list from A00. I have to know all of the options.
You're conflating the data model, the way we're representing the data model with the domain. I actually don't see these. I don't. The, um, I think actually the way in my head, and maybe Stephen, you've got a different thought about this, but when I again back to the kind of the processing this stuff in from configuration to domain, if we did it like this, I think what we would get in rows here, the first rows that we get is just the locations, right? And so we would load the locations. We would know their well, basically that relation, right? We would know the identity, the attributes of it. We wouldn't know any how it relates to anything else, right? Because we're normalizing this, we're taking that relationship out and we're making it an entity, right? And so this second table is about just the relationships. So in this world, for example, now that we've processed all of the we know all the locations, right? Now we're coming into the relationships, and so when we go to let's say we've got A00 north is A01. As we're processing that, we're going back to our locations. We're saying, oh, hey, A00 is going to A01, and we're creating that pointer at that point, right? So we're creating. I think it sounds to me in my mind, and my mind is different than yours. I can't. There's nothing like drawing a picture, which is why I was beginning to do like trying to do some UML to understand that we actually have the same picture in our heads. And so it's possible that we don't, but I think that association will go into location. So it'll be kind of the thing that you were talking about, right? Like when we're in a given location, we ought to know that we can go north, south, east, west, or we can't. That we can go down or we can't. That we can go up or we can't. Right. And so what this is, we come in and it's like, okay, we got all of our locations now. We've got the places that we can go, and so we are doing a second phase of processing on the locations. Again, this causes them to be immutable, maybe. Well, I can think of ways that they could still be immutable, and it's adding them dynamically, right? So I think that in my head that sounds like what you were saying, Cindy. Have I explained it in a way that makes you believe that?
I think I understand what you're going for. Yes. I'm not sure that we will be able to get there from north and down, but maybe.
What do you think? What do you think would represent it better?
Well, I mean, if you just think about like a Rubik's cube, for instance, a Rubik's cube, it's three on a side, right? And the whole idea of putting in those coordinates, the XY components, was so that we didn't have to track from each location where that location is in the world. It'll just be part of it. And yeah, we can read in from a table, but the problem is when you get to the next location that you're going to, north and down will no longer make any sense. That only makes sense from the initial location.
No,
So
it makes sense in every single location.
Yeah, because you're new, like your origin just means where you are. Like it just means like where you are right now. So if you go north, then you would have another entry here that would be A0, and A0 might have another north that is A2. So
okay,
yeah, maybe the
I'm
origin
gonna
name
roll
is
with it.
tripping you up.
I'm gonna roll with it with you guys, and we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah,
Cool.
and then I think it's interesting because like once we get more into this design, like I have some code that I could show y'all that is a totally different way of doing things, and we could compare them.
That's cool. I
I
mean,
think
I'm open to other ideas. I'm not trying to be like,
No,
oh,
I want to do this way and then see like what are the, pros and cons of each design. Or
there's always limitations, right?
yeah. Cindy, everybody out there, don't ever think that you've got a bad idea, right? But
I don't.
it's these little conversations. I mean, I really appreciate Cindy's doing a really important thing. She's saying, "Hey, I'm going to trust you guys. I'm going to run with it for a second, but also pay attention to what a great job she's done of bringing her concerns, and they're having a great conversation around this. Um, the thing that we're stuck on right now, the big thing that we're doing, this is still brand new to us. We're working through our ubiquitous language. We're trying to understand what our model looks like, and that's hard. Once the more that we talk about it, we refine that, and the better we understand that, the faster we're going to move. It's just how it works. So we're moving slow right now, and that's fine. Okay, we're at. Let's take 10. What do you think? We'll take 10, and
Sounds good.
and then we'll come back and hopefully we can take what we've done and start putting some rubber on the road.
Sounds good.
all right.
All right. Back in a few.
Back in a few. And I'll take you guys off the stream, so you're welcome to keep your cameras on. I will take you off, and then I can see when you get back if you leave yourself up. We'll be back in 10, folks. Hmm. All right. Oh, I was already not mute. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Cohort back. Yeah. I like this. Hey, thanks for doing this with me, guys. Stephen, this is a great idea. I really dig it.
Yeah, I'm already learning so much from y'all, just from the discussion. Because I'm the kind of person that I always jump into the code right away, but we're having so many good discussions about like how to do this and how to design it. Yeah, so I'm learning a lot from y'all.
Well, that's the
Awesome.
natural thing, right? I mean, everybody jumps into the code because as coders, we're not actually taught to read other people's code and to like critique it. I think that writers read other people's writing and get better at it, but coders don't necessarily read other people's code and get better at it. They just like write more code, and you don't really expand your mind by writing your own code. You know, that's just what comes out of your brain.
You can expand it a little bit, but I'd largely agree with what you just said. Yeah. So I recorded with Mob Mentality yesterday. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter and saw that, but
Oh, awesome.
one of the things that we that I talked about on there is, as developers, we have a tendency to focus on on the technical detail, the minutia. We want to jump into the code, but the thing that matters, like the way that we work as developers is important because it enables technical responsiveness. We want to get to a place where nothing's ever broken. Listen to Ron Jeffries. If don't ever let it get broken. That should be your all day long, everyday job. Don't ever let it get broken, because when it's broken, you're like, what the hell do I do? Work in a way where you always know it's always working, it's always shippable, right? And that's it's a big part of the battle. But that's the base. It's the foundation, and there's stuff on top of that. And the thing that really matters is, well, on top of that, we've got product mindset, right? And we want to be able to iterate and learn rapidly with product experiments. And on top of that, the thing that we're really doing this for is to, if we go back to modern agile, thanks for that, Josh, and Industrial Logic and everybody that participated in that. We want to make people awesome, right? It's all about serving people, which is weird. And developers, I don't think about that. They think it's about all the geekery, but the only reason we do it is to serve people. Sorry, another free PSA. Let's get back into this. It's about customer retention and acquisition, and if you're not focused on those things, you're not doing software right. Sorry.
Right, RIGHT. I agree.
I'm sorry. What was that?
You're not going to software right, and it's RIGHT, not WRITE.
Oh,
Anyway,
you're not doing software correctly.
I am with you. I am totally with you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay.
Let's just do it again, because I feel like we've just sort of like level set. Let's redo the last thing, because I don't think that Steven really got to direct anything in that last.
Yeah, so at this point I'm a little confused of like where does this config how does this config get loaded into the game?
Where does it live?
Yeah, where does it live? That's the thing I'm kind of missing that's in Eddie's brain.
All right.
Where's the config live in the game? What's our model look like? Let's talk about that. Let's go back over here to let's go back over here and let's do it. Let's think about it a little bit, right? What do we want here? We want
What are you
let's
laying out?
yeah.
Are you laying out the map of what is possible? Are you laying out the config of the locations?
Are you talking about like domain UMLs or something?
Part of me wants to do that, and part of me thinks we should just do a discovery tree.
Okay.
And a discovery tree is a technique of taking. Let me just show it to you. We could do this. In fact, we don't need anything fancy to do a discovery tree. What we can do is
I don't know what it is, so you can.
All right. So what I'm going to do is
explain it to me like I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this down here. So this is the place we're starting, and off of that, we've got stuff, right? So what are the things that we need to do? We need, I would argue, we need to load the world, right? And we need to place the player in the world, and then.
So that's kind of like when you're in the mall, you've got your sort of.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm gonna say that this breaks down something like this, right? And so what we're trying to do here is to be iterative and incremental, right? And we're just trying to break it down. And so what we're talking about, hey, what does this stuff look like? And I don't know that it matters, Stephen, right? I don't think it matters because we can refactor. If we don't like where we start, we can refactor to where we want to go. But I think that this might be a way to think about this story that we're working on. Did these seem like good things, or am I still missing something? Or
yeah, I think that's good, and I like the concept of a world that a game has a world, and then players in a world, and then are there also like locations provided to that world?
Well, the world is. I think the world is comprised of locations. The world in my head is the collection of locations that establishes the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I would just. I don't want to. I sure as heck don't want it to be about what design is in Eddie Bush's head, because I feel like we're doing it wrong if that's what. But this is the way that I look at it, and I absolutely want this to be something that's collaborative.
Those are all the parts that were in my mind as well. So
okay, let me see. I thought I could outline this. Isn't there an outline, or is that a mural thing?
As part of displaying the location or the prompt, are we prompting the user, the player, where they want to go? Or, I mean, is that part of it, that you're going to have options for them? Would that be where you would put the list of things that they can do? Or
yeah, I know this README pretty well, so I can answer that, but again, we can take this any direction we want. Yeah, it just describes the location, and then it's kind of, it's just implied, like, what do you want to do? I guess.
okay.
It's always prompting. It's always responding and prompting. Like, here's where you are now, and another prompt. But it's just
this. Yeah. I find this piece to be deceptive because it looks like one thing. It's simple. It's text. It looks like one thing. We've got three things. We've got two things going on here. We've got showing them the current location. And then we've got, and it's so diminutive that it's easy to think that it's part of the other thing. But what we're really doing right there is we're asking them, Hey, what do you want to do? Right. That's the prompt. So we're displaying a location. We're prompting them for some sort of command that they're going to give us. And does that? So actually, that little arrow is not part of the thing that we're doing right now. Even
you froze.
it's
up.
all just like
Froze.
showing them, right? But we have to load stuff to be able to show that to them. So. What the what?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that must have been one of you guys. Okay. All right. So, okay. Are we good? We're not good. I rotate this back around.
Okay.
I'm Eddie. I'm typing still.
All right. I'm Steven. I'm navigating.
Okay. And normally the typer starts the timer.
Oh,
right?
sorry.
No worries. I just paused it because I thought I was. Okay. So what do you think, brother? What would you like? Oh, we lost Cindy and she came back.
Well, I guess on line 12, you want to make that an and capitalized. If we're gonna have that be a statement for cucumber.
Oh, is that why it's not? Okay.
Right. Okay, so we have locations and then their associations. So yeah, I really think we need to just get these out of the data tables and into something. Yeah, so we'll just create some locations out of those rows. Yeah, we can do it. I don't know. We could do inner class and move it. Just do it in here for now.
Yeah. And then what I was thinking is, so we got the rows. So location equals new location, and this would be it's okay. So it's just like r dot
R dot.
and this would be
So
ID
yeah,
and r dot get
title and then description. Okay. Maybe you can just do a map.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I meant like a stream map.
Well,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually,
yeah, I was thinking about let's just get a list of locations for now, and then so what are you thinking here?
I said, I'm.
Oh, you want to map an ID to location? Okay.
No, I said no. I'm trying to play into what you just said.
Yeah. I gotcha. Well, what you can do here is you can use a collect instead of map. I think you can just do collect. And then you can use a to map collector. It's a lot.
So let's do it, and then we can talk about how to redo it.
Okay. Yeah. So you want to put the ID as the key, right?
Yeah. I'm getting there. I'm just slow.
Okay.
Have patience, folks. Have patience with your typer. Try not to be completion, because all the struggles that happen during thinking are just so. This is doing a map. So actually, what I want to do is what map? I'm mapping it to. No, this isn't right, dude. This isn't right. We're mapping that row to this, right? And then
well, yeah, so that's what I was gonna say originally. You can collect, and then there's a toMap function. And you can just do all that in here.
okay. I guess I'm going to wind up doing what you said. So this would be a location, and then
so yeah, you can just do
yeah. Tell me.
yeah, so you can do, it's a function. So R and then R get ID.
Here we go. Key mapper. So there's one function that is the key mapper, and there is another function that is the value mapper. Okay, so really what I want is okay, so it's and then well, it'd just be that, right? Now the problem that we have right now is that we don't have.
Yeah, so what you can do is you can just take line 23, the new location, and just do that as part of line 27. Like you don't need to map it. You can just stream and collect them into a map.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe not, because it's a list of a map of rows. All right, maybe not.
Well, so the rows are a list. We're about to the end here. Let's go with this. This is fairly straightforward. Let's take it straightforward. Let's fix our problems. Get a constructor. How do you call description? That looks good. And let's bind, and then let's getter, and now that should have helped us with some stuff. And now, okay, why is that? Can be replaced with method reference. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Timer on off. You wanna rotate or finish the idea here?
I'm just going to simplify this, and yeah. Okay. Let's rotate. What do you think? Okay. So, hey, I'm Eddie. I'm navigating.
Hey, I'm Cindy. I'm typing.
Yeah, I'm next.
And then Cindy will start the timer because she's on the keyboard.
Cindy will figure out how to do that. Hold on.
Go to mob time on the overview.
It's
on any of them. There's the big start turn.
I started it.
Really? Okay. Not seen it yet.
Well, I mean, shows it on mine. Remaining time 6:40. All right.
Okay. Well, are you seeing that also, Stephen?
No. I see 0. And
all right. Maybe I'm in the wrong place.
Look at your URL. It should be mobtime/craftsmanship counts-stream.
All right. I refreshed it and it's at 0, so I'm gonna try again.
There we go.
yeah,
Very good.
All right, cool.
All right. we have our world. Basically, I think that we have our world now, and the thing that we don't know is um, Stephen. What the thing I'm struggling
So
with is the start
one thing
location.
I'm thinking right now is, why do we need associations for this first one? Because we're just looking at the start location. But sorry, what were you saying?
Well, my question is, how do we know what the start location is? Is that something that we put into the associations?
Well, we're putting into this like locations, like and we're feeding it in. So right now, the world has the location right now. So
Yep. The
that
fact
map
that
has a location there.
so my thought is that the fact that we only have one location doesn't mean that that's our start location, right? I mean, I guess we could adopt that perspective, but it's such a corner case. I don't find that
Okay.
valuable, and so I really want somebody to tell us where we're starting. In fact, this is, yeah,
So you're thinking about an designating an ID to be a start location.
you brought up the notion of a player,
Yeah,
maybe.
player. Yeah.
And so is that what we need? Is we need to know, so instead of associations, what we need maybe is to say, and the user is at some location ID. How does that sit with you guys?
Yeah, because you could create a player and that would be their just starting coordinates or their current coordinates or something like that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I think that's how you would do that.
And in the beginning, it would always be like A00, right? But at some point, at the point that we get to a place we can save a location, then we would be able to feed a different thing into that.
Right.
But
Yep.
that's down the line. Okay,
Yep.
so
That
so
makes sense.
Cindy, let's kill the associations in the feature file, and instead of saying like in the following locations, let's say and the player is at, and then we'll say like A01, and let's put that in this case. We
01?
want to, yeah, A00. My bad. Yeah, thank you. And in this context, I think we want to put that in double quotes so that it's clear to Cucumber that that is a string that's a parameterized string, and that'll help us out a little bit, I think. Um, and we can kill that table. That table is not valuable to us at this point. Apart from, if you want to keep it around, what you could do is okay, apparently that works. You can also possibly put it in a doc string, or you could move it up to the doc. If that comments it out, then that's great. And then I can't remember, it's been so long. How do we actually run this? We Yeah, okay, awesome. Uh, there you go. It's given you the thing that you need.
We need to create the idea of a player.
Well, you need what I would do is copy from the at given down to that closing curly brace in the console there. You see, literally in the test output, Cucumber has told you, hey, I think that you need this in your step def. So yeah, your cursor is there. Yeah, so literally from the at given annotation down to the closing curly brace on the function that is the player is at. Yeah, and let's throw that over in the step defs in the step defs Java.
Okay.
And yeah, and then instead of string, let's call that location ID. Does that make sense?
Oops. If I could type.
Yeah, you need the curly braces around it because that's what tells it it's a parameter,
Gotcha.
and then the name needs to match up. So instead of string for the parameter name, we need it to be location ID. But I would use camel case. I think in Java we usually use camel case. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. And
So I don't think it matters because you have to that instead of location ID, you have to call that string with a lowercase s, and the name actually comes in line 47. Maybe there's an alternate way to do that, but we could see how it looks once you run it.
But so Cindy, after 48, let's put a system out and just let's print location ID. All right.
S out, tab.
Yeah.
I knew there was a shortcut.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Switching from Eclipse to. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Just.
Now you're trying to do TypeScript or JavaScript. You got to concatenate. Yeah, you got to concatenate.
Oh, how
this
quaint.
is Java. Come on now.
Dude, I jumped around from so many different things. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
And let's run that. Let's see what it does.
All right. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
And I think we need to rotate. Okay.
Doesn't like that either.
It appears you did not register a parameter type.
Well, we still don't have the concept of what a player is, so.
So what I was just trying to do is just quickly validate what Stephen was saying. So
wait, first thing, 46, you have it as given right now. It should be and.
Well, we still haven't said what player is, so we can change that to and, but I'll try it.
Yeah, you've got an import problem now. So if it needs to be and, then
wait. So you copied that and it gave you given?
Yes.
Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay.
So,
yeah.
Hold up. Let me finish this real quick. On 47, let's change location ID and parameters to string, the way that Stephen was saying, because it seems like it doesn't know and it's complaining about type. You need the curly braces still. Well, I would keep that as location ID. We want. There's got to be a way to put in it. It's so. Let's see if that. Run that.
Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, there you go. You got a location right there.
Okay. So we learned some. Okay, let's rotate.
All right. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm the navigator.
I'm Steven. I'm the typist.
I'm Eddie. I'm next.
All right. What are we doing next, Cindy?
I think, isn't it complaining that we haven't defined what a player is or what that?
Yeah, so we're throwing an exception right here. So I guess we need to fill this part out.
Okay. It gave us that we were starting at 0, 0, so.
So do we basically want to initialize a player? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, initialize a player.
And
we'll initialize them with a starting location. Yeah.
A location, sure.
Okay.
Will the player have anything else Do we want to just start with location and
I think that's all we need right now.
okay?
So Stephen, I don't know how you feel about keeping a primitive obsession, but these location IDs are going to have a certain format. It seems like a great candidate for a value object. I'm not saying we need to make it a value object right now. I just want to throw that thought out there.
Yeah, maybe I'd say let's
we
should eventually do it.
Let's make it work. I think let's make it work, and then we can change the type. It's a little bit of a pain to change the type, but it'll be instructive to go through that refactoring.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so we have a player, and I guess
let's don't throw the exception.
Yeah, and then I'll just create a field out of this because we want to reference it, right?
Stop.
Sorry.
You're not the typer. Back off.
Eddie, you were doing the same thing. So I think you're just creating right? You're creating the habit.
Yeah. If you see me do it, call me out on it.
All right. Okay. Cindy, what should I do?
You're the typer. I thought you were the navigator, dude. I'm sorry.
No. I'm supposed to be the navigator.
My apologies.
I'm not sure what track you guys are on, so I'm not sure what I'm navigating. Right.
Yeah, ask Eddie for help. And
so Cindy, what we're trying to do is we're trying to realize this feature file, right? We're trying to realize this scenario here on the left, and literally, so the way this typically works in Cucumber is you've got kind of some staging stuff. You've got the same setup, take some action, and then check it out. Arrange, act, assert, given, when, then. So in this case, given is our setup, and we're doing some setup. When is our act, right? So we take some action, and then is our assertion. And so what happens is you could think if you were doing this normally, you would literally be declaring stuff in your setup, right? Whether it was in the test function or it was a separate setup, you would be declaring some stuff, and you would need it to be in scope of where you did your assertions, or at least where you initialize the things, or you need to have things in scope to where you can initialize it, you can take action on it, and then you can verify, right? So what Stephen is doing here is he's saying, hey, let's kick player out to be a member variable, because when we get to the then, or at some point, we're going to need to stitch this together, probably into a world, right? We said we like world as a metaphor, and so I'm guessing we're going to create the world with the locations, with the player, maybe something else. I don't know, with the display, because the game has got to display stuff, right? And we're probably going to have user input or something at some point too. So that's
we need to validate that the player is the correct player and that they're at the location ID that we have specified.
But we're not doing that. This is just initializing it, right? And then when we get to the then, is going to check all that stuff out.
Right.
In fact, the when is where that's our action, right? So probably the when is where we actually create the world. This given is it's staging stuff for us. It's doing our setup. It's creating the things that we need. But they've got to be in scope, because you're calling two different functions, right? So you got to put this stuff up as member variables so that when you're calling the function of the when, they're in scope. That, I think, actually is where you initialize.
So the player needs to be declared inside of the given, because if we don't have a player,
yes.
It needs to be a member variable, because it's got to be beyond.
Cindy's saying, like, how can we create a game if we don't have a player first?
Yes.
So all right. So think about each function is doing one thing, right? So the given and later the and will be a part of this, and it will be a separate function, right? The given is creating locations, and right now, like, we didn't put the world out in member scope. It's not it's not at the class level. It needs to be, because it needs to be in scope when we run. The when will be another function, right? And so it's got to be in scope of the class, where when we're running that other function, we can create the world and put the locations in it. Right now, the world on line 24 is local to that function,
Yeah.
And so when we run, the game starts on 40, it's not in scope. We can't do anything with it. And the same problem with the player. So I actually think that what we're going to want, this game starts is eventually going to have the initialization of the game and starting it, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And this given is, I mean, it says a new game. I mean, I don't think we're going to be initializing anymore, but it's more about getting those locations. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Reading those into the world or some structure.
Yeah. So then I heard that we should bring this out. So I'll do that.
Well, I said that. What does Cindy think about it? Do
Yeah,
you
no,
understand?
I definitely think that that's going to have to happen because you can't reference the world anywhere except for in that given.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree that it should stay a map now. I think it's its own object, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, there's a
Yep.
little primitive obsession there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
Definitely want to
primitive.
get that into something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can refactor that later. Yeah. So okay, I think we're on the same page. We understand how that works.
Okay, so what about this? We want to initialize the game later, right?
Where is game defined?
Game's up here.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Game right now just takes an
Display.
output display. Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea what that is. We haven't talked about display.
Yeah, it's just the output, what the user sees.
Okay.
Display is just a generic term for we're showing something to the user, right? It's an
Okay.
abstraction for displaying stuff.
All right.
Do we want to rotate?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm Steven. I'm navigating.
I'm Eddie. I'm typing.
I'm Cindy. I'm next.
All right. So, Eddie, why don't we move that line 32 down above game start?
Can you please not direct me at the finest grain level? Tell me what you're after, bud.
Yeah. Let's move that to the win. Sorry. So before line, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Please. So sorry. I'm going to throw some coaching in.
Yeah.
Please,
Thank you.
please try not to be completion and autocorrect for the typer. It's
Okay.
Let your typer have some space to realize that they are screwing up and fix it. It'll help your flow.
All
and
right.
it'll make everybody happy.
I will give you my intent, and you, yeah.
All right. What next, brother?
Yeah. So we needed to start passing some of this stuff into the game, or have like I think we want like a world that the game takes in a world. And right now, like this world that is just a map, like I think the world has more than that. Like the world has a player and it has locations, because a player is going to be in that world.
Absolutely.
So this thing we have named world, to me, that is locations.
Could it be part of the display?
I think we want the display to be kind of lean and just be IO related.
Separate.
So.
Okay.
So we want to introduce the concept of a world, and I think pass that into the game.
Do we need world right now?
We could pass in the locations directly into the game and the player. So let's do that, and then we can refactor to a world later. So a game will take locations, player, game. Yeah, whatever order.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Makes sense. Locations is going to be a map. Okay.
Oh, okay. So we should probably move some classes, move files.
Yeah, location needs to be its own separate
Yeah.
instead of a
So
inner
Eddie,
class.
let's move some of those location files and those things. Yeah.
But, did
They're private classes, so let's move them out to be public.
Yeah, make them their own.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we had all the
I'm
inner
sorry.
classes, so I think it's time to promote them.
The
Yeah.
problem is that game isn't.
Right.
Let's see, what is that? F6.
Right.
That'll move, and we'll put it in. Yeah, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
We'll add it. Where did that put that? Player. Okay, that's in test. That's not good. So we want this in. I'm just going to throw it up here. Honestly, I don't think we've got enough. I
Yeah,
don't think we've got enough code to get too
I agree.
bent about where things are at right now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, no. Come on, kid, right keystrokes. All right. And this will go to Katacombs. Okay.
Makes sense. Just
Yeah, is it going to put it in the right place? Or
in the main? No, it's going to try and put it in test. Yeah, there you go.
this has changed a little bit with the new interface. It's like, I don't know that I love that, but okay.
So player is not accessible. What's the problem with player?
It's public.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. We got that guy. That looks good. We got. Yeah. Okay.
You can get rid of catacombs.player in the references now.
I'm not sure why that did that. Yeah, in fact, you have to because it won't run without it.
Yeah.
It won't run with it.
Correct.
Okay. Now let's run this guy.
Uh-oh.
All right.
He doesn't like something.
Share your cucumber report.
Well, I don't. It's actually all good. I don't know.
Is that
why.
good? Why
Yeah.
is it? Why is it?
I don't know
red?
why it shows red text, but it passed.
Oh, that's gonna mess me up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's okay actually.
All right.
What is game doing right now?
It's holding all of our different objects.
Yeah, I want to see what the code was doing. So we just have this hard coded. So, and why is it actually passing if this is a different description?
I have no idea.
I don't think we have an assertion. What does our assertion say? Oh, well, that's not our assertion that
We're not
we actually want.
anything.
We want to assert that line 11 from the thing that we passed in. So we don't have the full thing. Right now we have you are standing at the end of a brick lane, ...
Yeah. So, yeah.
You see that, Eddie?
You want to use the data that we've gotten from the
Yeah,
feature?
let's use the data from that we passed into the given and assert that instead.
Yeah. The player doesn't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. Why are you putting me down there? I went up here for a reason.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The description. Yep.
Okay, that's good.
And then you could
I'm
just
gonna,
put a location prompt there.
yeah, and I'm gonna drop the angle bracket because I think that's part of I think that's the next step. Or what do you think? Is that part of this step or next step?
I don't think we need it right now. Like
Okay.
until we're actually prompting the user. Okay. So that should fail.
Yeah, because we're passing in abbreviated.
Yeah, and now I can actually start using some of that stuff.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's time to rotate again too. So
Yeah.
I'm Eddie. I'm navigating.
I'm Cindy. I'm typing.
I'm Steven. I'm next.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we want to go into the game and we want to do something similar just to where we're getting that back. So we've set our expectation in the test. So let's make a game to where it's giving that to us the way that we expect.
Okay, so we
So you're
create.
going to want to go to game.
Locations.
Yeah, you're going to want to go to game. And right now we're using display to do the prompt, but what we really need is to format that into the same format, right?
Does not compute. Sorry. Say again.
Yeah. So if you look at what we're doing from 14 to 20, right now it's hard coded, and we want it to be based upon the data that we have. So, for example, we're probably going to need to make locations a member of the class.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And try to use the keyboard completions if you would, please. I'd prefer that we not write code. There's no reason to. So just delete that. And then in IntelliJ, the easiest thing to do, yeah, go ahead and kill the line. Just keep backspacing. And the easiest thing you can do, Cindy, is just put your cursor there where it says locations, hit Alt-Enter or Option-Enter, and just hit your down arrow. You never need the mouse for this. Just hit your down arrow, create field for parameter locations. Yep, hit Enter. Yep, hit Enter. And yeah, there you go. So now you've got. Do you like that better? Was that worth?
Yeah. Okay. Option in. I already have that.
Yep.
I still feel like down here in the start, we need to.
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
we want to save these things? I feel like if I get rid of this completely, then over here in the.
Is it valuable to us later?
I have no idea.
No, it's just an example.
I don't think it's
It
valuable.
could really be anything.
Yeah, it's just where we started.
Just test data.
Yeah.
So just get rid of this. It's
Um,
got to match what's over here, right? In order for this to pass.
Well, it's yes, as established in the test, right? So in the step diff. Actually, if I was feeling really just lazy, I would probably go over to the step diffs and grab the stuff that we did and throw it over here as a starting place, just to format that location out. In the user is at the start location. That's basically the same problem we have, right?
Yeah, basically this code can be ported over to game, and
you don't want the assert, but you want the other stuff. And now this is really the cool thing about this is we're really creating some duplication here, right? So you're going to want to put that in start. And you feel free to copy that method over if you want for right now. We're trying to get to green. We don't care about clean code. We care about passing tests.
Okay.
Did our test pass?
Hang on. What's it complaining about?
I don't know.
Assertion error.
So we still need to change the prompt.
Yeah.
Use that. Yeah.
As you said, it doesn't matter, so I'm going to make it easy on myself.
Oh, no. We don't want it to be static at this point. We want to use, that's the reason we brought the stuff in on lines 19, 20, and 21. So I think you just want location prompt here. And then hopefully that passes.
Well, it says it does.
Okay. Now I don't like this duplication, and we've got a brand new concept, right? We've got a location formatter. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that should live in location.
Can we just push that to a 2-string?
So I don't want it to live in location personally, because I don't know what.
But
I feel like
it's dealing with locations data, so shouldn't it live? The method should live where the data is.
Well, I mean, if all we are ever concerned about is it being text based in a console game, then yes. Otherwise, I would argue no.
To have some kind of formatter.
Yeah, maybe it's a maybe it's a prompt builder. Let's go with your. I like your suggestion, Stephen.
Yeah, can we just keep it simple and bring it into string? And if it seems like a problem later,
let's start with 2-string. Let's not solve a problem. You should said Eddie Yagni.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's. So what you can do, Cindy, is this is super easy. Like if you put your cursor on the method, and then F6 for move.
I don't have an F6 on my keyboard. Is that Command 6? Option 6?
No, you have an F6.
F6.
You may have to hit the function key. Do you have one of those?
I have a Mac, kids.
Yeah, with the little display up top.
It's just typing a 6.
Okay, well you can right click and go to the refactor menu and the shortcut there.
Yeah, or if you hit the function key, then it'll show you the function keys also.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if you hit Fn, then it should show you the.
I'm hitting Fn. I'm hitting Fn.
Yeah, but
so you can hold the Fn and then
on your keyboard, you got the one with the little display. Is that right? I can't think what they call it now because I don't have that now.
I got it. I brought it up. Okay, so I want to escalate it. I want to move it to a private.
Yeah, make it public.
Public class. Okay.
Yeah, and now it'll just move it over there. And yeah, in fact, I don't find the reference variable on 21 helpful. We could inline that, which is option command option N. Put it on the other side, the L value. Yep, and then just yep. And hopefully that still works. And I think it's time to rotate. Actually, we're at the top of the hour. So
yeah, you said you want to do a retro. When did you want to do that? Now?
Yeah, let's do. Do we have a place for? Let's just make a place for it. What do you think?
We could do Miro as well.
Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple for now.
the 10th. Yep.
All right, let's. All right, so well, micro retro.
Well, somebody's not happy.
Yeah, so I'll be the typist for this just to help you guys. Micro retro format. This is something that Fred Zool, Woody Zool's brother, came up with, and it's a way for us to just kind of focus in and get a sense of things. This is not intended to take a long time, but this is our first time, so it will take us a little while. So as an example, hey, how'd that feel for me? I felt that was, and so I'm putting how many people like it, right? How many people feel this way? I think that that was very productive. What about the rest of you? And so you could +1, right? And I would change this to a 2, or how'd that feel? Cindy, how'd that feel?
I feel like that was very productive. I think cutting it back to just the very basics was a good idea. I think that helped a lot. More focused.
Yeah, I agree. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I feel like we discussed some of the design a little bit more. We were able to get a little bit further on it.
I will say that I think that if you want to go to something that I didn't like, I think that we keep trying to jump into the code too quickly. I think that sometimes the turns are artificial because we're still trying to talk out what we're doing. So it feels like we're trying to force somebody to code when we haven't really discussed like what we're going to do. So it's like dragging the ideas out of people instead of trying to kind of, okay, we definitely know where we're going. Now let's, start coding it. And I feel like that is a general rule across the board. We always do that as coders because we enjoy coding, but we always do like just jump in feet first and try and start coding when we're not really clear on where we're going.
But since we're coding as a group, we need to have a shared understanding on where we're going.
Exactly.
So
and we try and do it before we have that shared understanding.
Around on you, Cindy. I'm going to turn it into something we want to do more of, and that is very fluidly having conversations to understand the domain and our approach. Right.
Yeah.
In other words, I see you guys nodding, so I'll put a 3 on that. So we're not. The timer is a guide for us, right? I personally, I think this is like the way to roll. I think that timers are helpful. We want to have equal access, right? We want to try and have equal access. We want to try to get people talking different. Try to get people involved the same amount. And I'm so sorry, I got unplugged and I jumped on poor Steven because I thought he was playing the wrong role. I'm so sorry, brother. I was trying to take up for Steven. Well, Cindy has a powerful personality too, but
I mean, you were right, but I kind of threw it back at you, which I shouldn't have done. It was like, well, you were doing the same thing. Man. That was very immature of me.
Steven's a human person too, right? And he did it in a really nice way. He was not crass or mean about it at all. You were just fine, brother.
No, I think the point is like we need to have the higher level discussions rather than trying to implement while we're still getting the ideas out.
Because
Yeah.
it felt like when I was typing that Cindy didn't really understand where we were going,
Yeah,
and that's why she's feeling that way.
definitely.
And that's why I was doing more thinking, because she wasn't ready to be a navigator because she didn't know
Right.
what we were doing. That's why we needed to take a pause and talk about things and level set.
And honestly, as facilitator, I should have probably jumped in, Cindy, and encouraged you to pull me in. We really want to keep the typist focused on just translating into code, right?
Yes.
But don't ever anybody ever feel like you're stuck and you've got full responsibility just because you're in the navigator chair. No, that's not how we do it. That's not how we do it. We don't bring three people together to watch one person struggle with where we should be going. That's just asinine. We get three people together to collaborate because, and to your point, Cindy, like we don't know. We're going through with our best knowledge, and we are trying to have a bias toward action, and we discover as we do that, oh, there's something else we didn't know, and we have a conversation, and that's how it works. Think about how you code, and this happens to you too, even if you don't work in an ensemble. The difference is that and Cindy, you're used to working as an individual, right? You're not as accustomed to working this way, so it feels like you still have a tendency to think, oh, I got to solve that, like what am I going to do? Wow, that's the value of working in an ensemble. You don't do that.
And that's why I'm here. I definitely value that. I'm just like not as acclimated to it as you guys are. So I'm just trying to like express how I feel, and coming from the perspective of I'm used to like planning it all out. And I'm a different personality, right? Like I enjoy systems, and I enjoy planning things out and like having a good idea before I jump in, because I feel like that helps me not waste time. But I do understand the approach of being biased towards action and doing it, and then maybe you have to redo it, and that's okay. It's just it's not as native to me. I'm not as used to that. So
the argument is, and there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of thinking up front. We did some thinking up front, and then we kind of jumped in. The argument here is like you never know better than at the point that you're doing something, right? So keep it lean, keep it light, and it's not bad to have some thoughts that you share up front, but keep the things that you're actually putting in action as light as you can, because they're going to change. And instead of thinking that we could ever get it right the first time. When did you ever get it right the first time? With Hello World? Yeah, okay. FizzBuzz? Okay, sure. But everything else, like, you don't get it right the first time, right? So just stop thinking that you can. Go with the thing that you know, and learn refactoring. Learn good due diligence of having a good test discipline and refactoring. And then it just doesn't matter. Right, because like you see what we're doing, we've gone to, like, we got it functionally done, test pass, and then we started refactoring. Right, we're like, well, I don't like that design. Stop thinking you can get it right. Let the code tell you based upon the associations that you come up with, based upon the way that things are actually used, right? And then you don't create stuff that you don't need, which is annoying to me.
But from my perspective, I wasn't at the level that you guys were. You had an understanding, and I wasn't quite there yet.
So. I'm talking to them, not to you. You're doing, honestly, Cindy, you're doing great. Considering that this is like your second or third time working this way, I think you're phenomenal.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, and I mean the times that you're slowing us down, it makes everything more clear for me. Even though I had a like okay understanding, like us having a conversation makes it even more clear for all of us.
Yes.
And that's what we need. We all need to be going into it together and not leaving anyone behind.
Well, I feel like I try to be an active listener. There are a lot of folks, especially on teams, where they're just listening and they're following along, but maybe they don't really understand. And when they get put in the position of like directing or, being the navigator, then they're like, well, I don't understand what we were talking about. And I didn't understand where we were going, so I couldn't navigate us because I was like, wait, I don't get it. So I'm trying to be active and understand what's going along, but
that's exactly what you should do.
I will definitely flag it and be like, whoa, wait, I don't I don't know where we're going here. So
let me put it to you like this. Let me be a little more concrete because we've been kind of hand wavy. So here's what I would do, Cindy. Here's what I do when I rotate into Navigator and I'm not sure where we're going. I look at it. I'm like, I'm not sure where we're going here. Like, and then I'd be like, well, Steven's typing, and I would just say, hey, Cindy, let's talk about this, like, because I'm not sure where we're going, right? And just have that conversation, like, and maybe I would say, I kind of think that something like, and I would maybe lay out my loose understanding, and we would collaborate about it, right? Oh, look at that! Who you got there, Steven? Oh, she's cute. Yeah. Um, and just do it, right? Because it's not, it's collaborative development, right? So we should just expect that. And even, and if the navigators, I think we're doing pretty good at this, actually. I think, but the other side of that too is, even if as a navigator you think you know where you're going, if you're in the ensemble, and you think things are going awry, then talk up, say, and so if Cindy's the navigator and I'm in the ensemble and I'm like, what the. There's two things I could do. The first thing I could do is what Cindy did here, and she extended trust, and she's like, I'm not sure where this is going, but I'm going to sit back and trust you guys for a second, and we may have to talk about that later. The other thing you could do, if you're really sure, is say, hey, Cindy, like, I know it looks like you're going this direction, and I'm concerned about that because I think that you can have that conversation, and this should always be safe to do because if you think about how we build things, like you build a base, right, and then you're putting stuff on the base. Well, if the base is bad, then it makes you make different choices, suboptimal choices, and then it's really more difficult. The more you build on top of something that is not sound, it just makes your life more difficult. So don't ever be scared to have those conversations.
Well, it's not a fear of having the conversation. To me, there's the pressure of the timer being there, and you're wasting someone's time. You're not being productive if you're asking questions. And I know that's not true, but it's the way that it feels sometimes.
I know. It takes time to adjust.
Yeah.
Because we think that this is where the work happens.
Yeah.
And this is where the work happens. Right. This is just recording it so that we can share it with people.
Yeah, no, I've been doing ensemble programming for the last year, but not like in my day-to-day work. Mm-hmm. I've just been using it like as some training sometimes, and that's why I wanted to be a part of this. And I go to Bob's Codecraft weekends,
yes,
every once in a while, and I feel what you're saying about the timer, and I've seen others that I've done this with feel the pressure, especially when we get down to like 4-minute rotations and 5-minute rotations. So yeah, but yes, I'm still trying to fight that urge a little bit too. It's still a little bit in there to like think that I need to rush or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you have to say about that, Eddie?
Well, and so actually, we actively leaned into that feeling today, right, Cindy? When you were like, "Oh, well, Stephen didn't really get a chance to," what you were expressing is that we didn't type anything, right? And I started to say something. I was like, "Nope, I'm not going to. Well, we're just gonna go ahead because frankly, I don't care." Right. And I wanted for Cindy to feel good about it at the time. And I didn't want to like, but yeah, I mean, it's difficult to, we don't, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about what you're doing. Another great witty quote. We're not trying to maximize what we get out of each person. We're trying to get the best of each person into everything that we do. So if you're if really you got some like 10% of the time you're contributing ideas and they're awesome ideas, you should feel good about that, because I was coaching with a guy I was coaching with a guy, and he sat there and he was we were collaborating on some stuff, and that was shaping the way that we were going to coach. And this guy's brilliant. I won't mention his name because brilliant guy. And he sat there and he's like, "Oh, there's me and two other guys, and actually both of them are brilliant." But the collaboration is wow. You know, I mean, we're all smart, but the collaboration is phenomenal. And the one guy sitting there and he's saying, "Well, I don't feel like I really did anything. Like you guys did all the work." And I'm like, "Dude, you did some of the most important stuff. You helped us realize we were off track and you got us adjusted. And the few things that you did, you could just." If you were involved in the process, you would see a monumental impact on the way that things. So it's like he didn't have a lot to say, but it was valuable. You know, that's what counts. Have some patience with your team, right? But have some patience with yourself too.
Cool.
You could put another one on there for me. And things to improve is to navigate with intent. You called me on that, and I was a little bit more mindful of that after that. It's probably a bad habit I've been picking up because I work with a lot of junior developers, and I'm always having to kind of tell them line by line. Yeah.
With you two, sometimes I feel like a junior developer, but maybe it's just I'm not familiar. I feel like I'm starting over.
We're all juniors about something, Cindy. And the sooner we get over it, the yeah. Yeah. Always take it back to intent. Always start with intent. Even with somebody who's junior, you don't. The last thing you want to do is just sit down and fall into a place where you're giving them blow by blow every single line. It wears you out. It wears them out. It's a stressful thing all day long.
And it's not a learning experience for them. I feel like when you pair someone who is a more mature coder with someone who is a less mature coder, they pick up things. Even if you're not talking, they pick up like the way that you go about things, the way that you approach things, the way that you think about things. And you don't have to tell them line by line, right?
Well, that's also true. But in the minutia of this navigation thing, think about like you want them to learn how to interpret intent into detail, right? And so you want to always start at intent. You want to go. You don't want to go any lower than you have to, and give it a good hard somewhere between 5 seconds and a really good pregnant pause, right? Pregnant pause is around 20 seconds, right? It's a really, really blown up pause. Because you're giving space for them to digest and to think. And that's where learning happens. The digesting and thinking and doing is where learning happens. And the reason we work this way is so that everybody's constantly learning. So if we're always just going down to detail and telling them exactly what to do, we're stealing that learning opportunity from them. Sorry, Stephen, but that's my 2 cents about that.
No, for sure. Yeah.
But you do still want to make progress. And if they're completely lost, like I was at one point, you got to like get them past that, right? Because to be just stuck is no good.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you started intent, and maybe they understand the intent, but they're not sure where to do it, right? That's why we got location in the middle. And so we be on line 15. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I see it. Okay. Yeah. That's so I steal this from Llewellyn Falco. If you've seen this process, Llewellyn Falco, he's freaking brilliant.
All leads, all like I don't know, all roads lead to him, like, and all these ideas, these great agile ideas that
him and who's the guy? Jay.
Jay Bazuzzi.
Jay Bazuzzi. Yeah, another really great guy. He's got some great resources.
Yeah.
Woody, the mob mentality guys over the place that they work. Yeah, man, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but Llewellyn and Jay, they really are pretty heavy punchers, almost on like a Woody level, you know. Um, yeah. What else? Any closing thoughts? Or feels like we're wrapping down.
I think it's getting easier. Like the process is taking me a little bit of time, but I think it's getting more familiar and
That's how I've felt in every mob I've ever been in. Like it's like the first hour is like frustrating, and then or like the first hour or like the first time or whatever, and then it just gradually you get more used to the people you're working with, and
Yeah.
you're more used to everything, and then it just becomes amazing.
Yeah. We're really a brand new team. You think about the time that we've worked together, and it's under a day. Maybe we're approaching a day,
Right.
and think about how much we've progressed in that time.
I think I will be here next week. Just as an aside, I'm not sure. I'm supposed to go out to Colorado Springs for my job, so I don't know what the deal is, but they're scheduling some travel for me, and I know that I'll be there the week of the 19th. So.
Anything you want to plug?
I will be working for Boeing.
Yeah.
The company that I work for is Actilent, and that's the contracting company that I'll be with. But it's a long-term contract and fantastic wages. I'm really excited. The team sounded fantastic. There'll be some encryption, decryption. It's a satellite communications kind of team. So
I'm getting
it should
jealous.
be a lot of fun. It should be a whole lot of fun. I'm excited.
You need somebody else.
Possibly. I will keep the ears open.
Yeah. That sounds fun. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll also be out next week going camping. Okay.
So it'll be. Sounds like it'll maybe Cindy will be here, maybe not. Probably not. It might be me and Luca. Luca, if you're not doing great next weekend, then maybe we'll just call it on the spot and we'll skip next. I'm starting to wonder if we should just skip next weekend. What's up? What do we consider a quorum? What's our minimum number of people before we want to be here? Is it 2 or 3? Is it 1? I don't want to be here by myself. I'm sorry. I get too.
I think it's at least 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if Luca can make it and I can't, I wouldn't want you to hold it up for me. But I'm going to try and be here. So maybe.
Okay,
yeah, it might just be good for you and Luca to just talk through what we've done and like, you know.
Well, I hope that Luca goes back and watches the stream.
Oh yeah.
That would be great, right? Like to catch up.
That's true.
Do you post that back into our thing? I looked and I didn't see. Of course, you guys didn't meet last week, but do you post that back to the discussion with all of us?
Do I post what back?
Like the stream, the review or whatever.
No, I don't. I just put the stream on.
Yeah. Okay.
So cool. I don't know if that's helpful to you.
Yeah. So in case I miss it, I can at least check it out. So hi.
So I think actually, are we done with this?
Hi.
Hi. Look at it. Oh, sorry.
What a doll.
Let's get all this other stuff out of there. Let's yeah.
I'm Cindy.
Who is this? Who is this tiny person?
This is Adia.
Abia?
Yep.
Abia.
How old are you?
5.
Oh my goodness.
6?
No, 5.5.
5.5.
You gotta put your finger like this, right?
Like
a half?
Yeah.
Is your daddy a pretty good guy? You think so?
Yeah. Well,
are you going to school yet?
I'm already in school.
Yeah,
you
she just
she
graduated on Thursday from preschool.
Oh, wow.
That's
Like day after
exciting.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Day after yesterday, I graduated.
Wow,
The day after yesterday.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
All right. You're
I
5
haven't
minutes.
graduated in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because you're grown up already.
I am a grown up already. I have bills and stuff. It's not nearly as fun.
God, I hear that.
It's fun to be a grown up.
You think it's fun to be a grown up? That's what I thought too. I'd rather be a kid
Because
again.
Oh, yeah.
you have to do a lot of work when you're a grown up.
You do have to do a lot of work. Yes.
But she said you can eat as much ice cream as you want.
That's
Well,
true.
that's false. That's false.
You can. It's not a good idea.
House 3.
Yeah. Do you still think that?
It's
Fair
a
enough.
bad
You
idea.
can, but there are consequences.
That's right. That's right.
Hilarious.
Well, I had a great time today. Thank you for advising and crafting a fun time. It was good.
Yeah,
I think
it
we
was
did
great.
a lot.
It's about the group. Yeah. I think again, I think this was, I'm really happy, Stephen, that you had the idea to do this. I'm going back to our discovery tree and I'm marking everything green. So I think that next time I feel like we got that part done. And next time we're looking at actually doing something with it. I don't know if you all agree with that, but
Yeah.
Yep.
I am anxious to see what you shared earlier, Stephen, about a completely different way of doing things. So I'm
It's starting to look similar actually,
okay.
but it's just that once we get into that associations, that might be where it kind of goes another way.
Well, I don't want to color like what we wind up doing, but
Yeah, I don't want to show you. I don't really want to show y'all until we go down one path because I don't want to, influence the design in that way. But
Cool.
yeah,
you know what we failed to do, and I don't know that this was good or bad, but if you stop and think about it, we said we were doing double loop, and what we didn't do is drop down and really do any TDD on the minutia.
Yeah, it seems to me like we're doing like classic outside in TDD instead of actually I don't know. I don't really see us really doing a bunch of double loop, and it's probably because we should have talked about that beforehand, about more on like how to do that. But the using mocks and all that, like I'm starting to try to get away from mocks and improving the design to where I don't even need mocks. So yeah, that's what I did with my design of this, that I basically just tested the world and pushed all the IO stuff into the game. Yeah, so Arlo Belshi's got a lot of great stuff on testing without mocks that I've been learning about.
I'm sure
He's like, use mocks temporarily, but then make your design better to where you don't even need those mocks. And yeah,
I've definitely worked on teams where mocks made things more complicated. They can make things easier, but
yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is I've done double loop TDD, and I think in some situations it's okay, but I don't want to like force us to use that. Let's use it if it's practical. You know, I know like we said it initially because this example came out of a book that was in the outside in TDD section. And, that was, but we should just be pragmatic about it.
always.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, subscribe, follow, like, give us some positive feedback. Join the stream, jump in chat. I've got it right here. Actually, it's been really quiet today. I'm surprised we didn't hear from Dota or somebody. There's some people. I don't know if it's just the three of us that are on the stream, but there's three people that are on the Twitch stream right now. But nobody's chatting. Come in, collaborate with us. Say, hey, good job. Oh, did you think about? Well, I'm actually trying to do a better and better job of paying attention to chat. I know I've not done the best job in the past. I'm trying to be better. I'm learning to be a good streamer, right? So thank you for your patience. And it sounds like we're probably going to be here next week. Watch the schedule. I'll do my best to flag weekends, to flag time as vacation if we're not going to be here. So pay attention to the stream schedule. And the stream, did I say scream? I don't think we screamed today. We better call it the stream schedule. It's difficult to schedule streams, right? You don't know when that's going to happen. And thank you to our special guest, this beautiful young lady. What was her name again?
Adia.
Adia. See you next time. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great day.